What's up everybody, welcome back to DoubleT Gaming, and you probably know by now that Blizzard has filed a lawsuit against Turtle WoW. Of course, the anti-private server crowd is having a field day with this one, but we'll leave that debate for the comment section. Instead, let's try to speculate on what might actually be next for Turtle WoW. I'm not going to be doing any fancy editing or anything for this one, I just kind of wanted to talk through the situation with you guys. Now, I'm not a lawyer by any means, just kind of a concerned citizen and fan of Turtle WoW. But in my 12 hours of intensive law research, this is sort of my thought process. So this was filed in U.S. federal court, the Central District for California. And Blizzard's claims cover copyright infringement, trademarks, and even mention of Turtle WoW's experimenting with their 2.0 version in Unreal Engine 5, which we all know was coming soon. A Blizzard spokesperson even came out and said that, and I quote, "This pirate server illegally uses our code, assets, and trademarks to market an unprotected experience. Given the scale and nature of the infringement, we need to pursue formal remedies to protect the world we've built." And there is also the cash shop. Turtle WoW does have that microtransaction system, which does add another layer of legal complexity to it. Charging real money for access or perks makes the case more serious compared to a free server, because it touches on potential profit from copyrighted material, but I don't really know anything about that, so I don't want to speak on that. As for any official response from Turtle to Blizzard, it's a bit unclear. If Turtle is overseas, they might not be required to appear in a US court, but that doesn't mean Blizzard can't pursue other avenues to apply pressure. Ignoring this altogether could still have serious consequences, and the real question is whether Turtle chooses to respond and how they handle it moving forward. On their Discord, the Turtle WoW devs kind of doubled down, saying they aren't going anywhere, we're going to fight this, stand strong, positive mental attitude, and all that good stuff. But over on Reddit, some posts about the lawsuit are reportedly getting deleted, maybe to keep panic under control. There are also reports that Turtle has been banning and muting users on Discord for even mentioning the lawsuit, which shows they're kind of trying to tightly manage the situation. Honestly though, this whole lawsuit, you have to admit this is not a surprise. With the recent surge in popularity Turtle has had, even though it's been popular for a while, but now since the ending of SOD, Epoch coming up, the competition, people wanting Classic Plus, Turtle was always going to be, or already had been, on Blizzard's radar. But all that doesn't make it any less unfortunate for the community. But we know exactly why this legal action came when it did. So on the outside, Turtle is projecting confidence, but behind the scenes it kind of looks like they're handling things pretty carefully. I don't know if it's panic time yet, but it's certainly hovering around that situation. So another point that keeps getting brought up in the comments of my previous video is that there's still a lot of mystery around where exactly Turtle is actually based. I've seen speculation about the UK, Russia, Kazakhstan, even China. If that's true, it definitely complicates things for Blizzard since they can't just roll in and shut it down. But that said, there are some rumors of Turtle's hosting providers might actually be US or EU based, and if that's the case, even if the devs are overseas, Blizzard could potentially put pressure on third-party services anywhere around the world, which could create serious problems for Turtle. Payment processors, hosting, or other services tied to the server could all be targeted under US or international agreements. So realistically, I think there's only kind of three paths forward for Turtle WoW. One, of course, is just a shutdown. Turtle could decide it's not worth the fight and just kind of fold, just like Nostarius did years ago. But back then, that shutdown of Nostarius came with a promise. Blizzard had said that official Classic servers were coming, they had met with the team several times. It was a whole thing, and then of course it took Blizzard a while, so Nostarius released the code, and that led into a whole other series of events. But it took a few years, but eventually it did happen. We have the Classic servers. So while this situation feels grim, there's always that sliver of hope that maybe this is Blizzard clearing the way for some kind of official Classic Plus in the future. Option 2 is that they could fight back. They could respond in court, which might buy them some time, but Blizzard has an almost unlimited legal budget compared to a small private team of Turtle, so I don't see this likely happening. Number 3, which I think might be the most likely solution or path to take, is that they relocate or kind of just rebrand themselves. Now, we don't know where they are exactly, but they could easily move that location. They could try to shift servers, hide behind new infrastructure, or even relaunch under a different name. It's been done before, but it's never guaranteed. Eventually, Blizzard's going to find you if you're that popular like Turtle WoW is. Now, just kind of quick my opinion, and I know I said earlier that I would leave a lot of the debating and kind of the negative stuff in the comments, but I think I do feel like I should give my take. I always try to stay as non-biased as possible in these kinds of issues and ride the middle line so we don't stir up any negativity in our little pocket of Classic Plus lovers. Even with the Epoch versus Turtle debate, I've always tried to be as middle line as possible. I love both servers. I think both servers are great for Classic Plus. But when it comes to that retail versus Classic debate, for the retail players that are absolutely loving this in the comments and on Reddit and attacking attacking Turtle WoW players in the comments. I've got to say that's kind of a weird take to me. Like, where else are these players supposed to go if they don't want Blizzard's iterations of WoW, but still want to play the game that they love? So just kind of imagine like someone remasters your favorite game, you play it and it's great, but then a fan out in the corner brings your favorite game back to again remastered, but with extra levels you've never played before. That's what servers like Turtle are kind of offering for these players. And again, I'm not ignoring the cash shop. Yes, that adds a layer of complexity regarding money and legality, and it does hurt Turtle's case, but even with that, there's a very real player base that wants this classic experience without grinding through retail or reliving the same classic story with nothing new happening. That's what Turtle WoW and Classic Plus and these fan-led projects are all about. Not Blizzard coming through and kind of steamrolling them, even though again, they have every legal right to do so. But at the end of the day, once again, it's kind of a wait-and-see situation. I think we're really early on in this. I don't know how long this is going to take. Turtle WoW says they're not going anywhere, but Blizzard's clearly kind of turning up the heat really fast. And history has not been kind to private servers when this happens. Nostarius got sent a cease and desist. Blizzard didn't officially shut them down. They chose to go down themselves with that promise of Classic Plus. Eventually it happened, but again, took years to happen. But what do you guys think? Does Turtle try to fight, rebrand, relocate, or just try to ride it out as long as possible? And do you think even the smallest chance this is history repeating itself with Blizzard eventually giving us their own version of Classic Plus? Let me know in the comments. I'll keep you posted as this story develops. Hit that sub button, like the channel, all that good stuff. Thank you guys for watching. It's DoubleT Gaming. I'll see you guys in the next video.